So the other bit that we've not touched on here, which I think is really important, I do want to just spend 10, 15 minutes towards the end of this
Yeah,
interview. It's worth considering the context of where you are, because I think recovery organisations, I think sometimes I think our people in the government, this would be me, I think they can, like they do with so many things, they can write a document that says this is how you do it, and they're going to give it to you, and then you can just commission it, and that's going to happen. But for me, recovery community organisations are of their community and reflect the community and the difficulties of the
yeah,
community. And yours is an interesting one. It clearly is. You're in Northern Ireland. It's got lots of political tensions, as we know, and I'm interested about how those are managed in your community as you go along. Those are not only political but potentially religious tensions. You've got a community, as you said before, that's awash with alcohol. You've got a community that's in a very difficult space with drugs. It's not the same
yeah.
as everyone else.
Mhm.
You've actually got people who get into a lot of trouble via a paramilitary organization, which is probably one step beyond gangs that other people experience.
Yeah,
You've got, like you say, you've got a government that doesn't sit. You've got a population where the young people have got some very different attitudes to the older people. You've got some people that are welded in a Northern Ireland perspective, and another generation of people that just talk about an island perspective. So I'm just interested in how some of all of that
yeah,
gets reflected in
yeah.
what you manage to do and support, because it's such an interesting space you're operating
Yeah.
in. And my comments are really simplistic as an outsider, Gary.
Uh-huh.
That's just my brief summary as an outsider. I'm not
Yeah.
in it where you are. Yeah.
And I think what's really important to recognize is the fact that that's my cultural context. So for me, that's just life here. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I like so knowing how to navigate conversations from people who you know from different political backgrounds. How you talk to people, how you engage. It's something we've had to be really good at not offending people. So we've had, because you could open your door to step out of your car and just offend somebody in Northern Ireland. It's that kind of diverse. But so yes, so we know about the culture and the context. We know from years of the troubles, we have a traumatic population, a traumatized population of people, that have been using benzodiazepines for years, and the onset of that, they've been using alcohol for years. Whenever the peace process came in, the paramilitary organizations had to find and repurpose. Okay, so I mean, the drug trade was one of those. So within our communities, they still hold a lot of control and a lot of power. So, we haven't had issues as an organization with paramilitary activity. We've seen what has happened when people get into situations with paramilitarism. I remember whenever I was young, maybe I owed £200 for drugs. Like, I'm now seeing, 15, 16, 17-year-olds and tens of thousands of pounds worth of drug debt. And the unfortunate side of that is you then fall into the paramilitary activity in terms of either holding or selling or getting involved in other things,
Mm.
and that's a really difficult place to kind of navigate, and it's funny too whenever it comes to people who sell drugs, and I'm not sure what the context is there. Like, we've had people in our service that, have sold drugs in the past, but have managed to change their entire lives and other people's lives as well. There's a big push to kind of, to criminalize everything, and
Mm.
I think it's a really difficult question to kind of whittle down. I think from a
Yeah, no,
paramount,
so
I
I
think from a
liked your
par, yeah,
response though. You made this lovely response that I see it as different from the outside, and you're actually saying no, it's normalized because that's what we. And I think that's a
yeah,
very interesting response. And of course, in a way in which you describe some of those things, maybe they are another level. No different to young kids that are navigating really complex,
yeah.
gang worlds in London. Maybe so there's
I think,
commonality as well, isn't
yeah.
there, in all this? Yes.
I think, so for us, so we have a referral pathway with the police here. You know,
Yeah.
there's organizations out there who would be very quick to cause harm if they felt that you're associated with that. But to me, it's common sense. The police and the emergency services are coming in contact with people who are at who are in really difficult places with drugs and alcohol. They have those connections, and that's the political landscape that you sometimes have to be. That there is like, so do we promote that relationship? Do we talk about that relationship? Do I fear some form of reprisal because I have this relationship? But I have never done that, and I've always been very open, working with the people that I've worked with, because at the end of the day, as much as paramilitarism may control communities, communities are in despair and there's nowhere for their people to go. So if I can act as a place where the people can come and at least try and get some form of support, then I'm kind of okay with it.